Welcome back to the free podcasting course. I'm Nicholas, and in this part, we're going to be looking at the technology you need to create a podcast, and I'll help you choose the right technology for you. So what are we talking about with technology? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is a podcasting microphone. As you can see here, I have one that I'm using. Now, when I was first starting out, I remember this also being one of those things that I stumbled on because I wanted to have the perfect microphone and I wanted to wait until I could afford the perfect microphone and all that stuff. But what I realized was just pick a microphone. It's not going to make a huge difference. Believe me, you're going to get so much more value out of just launching and iterating once you've already launched your show than you would if you just procrastinate and wait until everything's perfect and you understand every microphone in the world. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of podcasting microphones and everybody you ask seems to have their own opinion. However, with that being said, there is a very good starting microphone that a lot of people recommend. So it's called the Audio-Technica ATR 2100. And this was the microphone that I used for probably 3 years before I switched to this Yeti. And really the quality, I can barely tell the difference, but I just like this one better now because it just, to me, it fits this workspace a little bit better with the way I wanted it to be set up. But the Audio-Technica A2100 or the ATR 2100, which you can see here on the screen, is a very good podcast mic. It's very affordable at just 69 or 70 bucks on Amazon. And if you go into a podcasting group on Facebook and you ask them, what microphone do you recommend? I guarantee you the majority of the responses are going to say the ATR 2100. So if you don't want to think about it and you just want to make a purchase, I would recommend just buying the ATR 2100. I'll put a link in the description of this video where you can pick it up on Amazon. They sometimes have it on sale in a bundle where it also comes with a pop filter and some other accessories. So you might want to check that out too if that's available. Now, what is a pop filter? You can see that here in the middle of the screen. A pop filter is this thing here that goes in front of the microphone to help when you say words with like a P, a plosive sound, like pa. If you don't have a pop filter on your microphone or in front of your microphone, then that's going to get picked up on the audio and it's just not going to create a good listening experience for your listeners. So I do recommend having some type of pop filter. Some podcast mics these days come with it built in. So just see how that's going to be included if it is, and how that's going to be set up. But you do want a pop filter. I mean, you could see here, it's $13, so it's not a huge investment. Another thing I recommend getting is a boom stand, which you probably can't see too well here, but the boom stand is something you can connect to your desk. And what's good about this is it suspends the microphone so that it's not on your desk, because if your microphone is on your desk and you hit the desk or you hit the keyboard, that's going to get picked up on the microphone. So for instance, now if I hit my desk, I'm hitting the desk, you can probably barely hear it at all because the microphone is actually suspended on the boom stand. And then this is also using what's called a shock mount, which is a little bit more advanced. I don't think you need that right away if you're just starting, but the shock mount sort of suspends the microphone almost like it's floating on the boom stand so that it doesn't pick up any type of shock from hitting the desk or the keyboard, because that is a very annoying sound. I've listened to many podcasts where you could hear the host typing and clicking and moving their mouse. So you want to avoid that. So I really think when it comes to the hardware, these are really the three things you need. There's people that'll tell you to get a mixer, which is an actual physical device that you would connect to your computer. I don't really think you need that. I've never had a mixer, and I've never had a single person in thousands or hundreds of episodes. I've never had a single person ever say, "Oh, you should have a mixer because it would sound better." So I think that's something you could certainly get down the road. But if you're just starting out, I don't think you really need much more than just a simple setup like this. So again, if you want to pick up these products, I'll put them in the description on Amazon so you don't have to go searching around. But yeah, I would say just get started and don't worry too much about the tech. Now, when I was researching this video for the course, when I put these three items in my checkout, in my shopping cart on Amazon, it came out to under $100. So this is a very affordable setup for getting started podcasting. Now, let's move on to software. So you have your hardware figured out, which is your microphone, but how are you actually going to record and edit your podcast audio? So what I use to record audio is called Audio Hijack, and it's from a company called Rogue Amoeba, and it works really, really well because it's easy to use, and I can simply record from any source, whether it be a Skype conversation or just the microphone or whatever, and it's very easy to set up. Then when it comes to editing the podcast, what I recommend is Audacity, which is a free program that works on both Mac and PC, and it's been around forever. And just like if you go into a Facebook group and you ask them what is the number one microphone you'd recommend, people are going to say the Audio-Technica ATR 2100. But if you ask them what audio software or editing software you recommend, most people are going to say Audacity because it's free and it's easy to use and it's cross-compatible across PC and Mac. Now, if you do download it, one thing you're going to notice is it looks really outdated. It is a very outdated looking program. However, it gets the job done. Now, at this stage in my podcasting career, I guess you could call it a career, I don't edit my own shows anymore. That's something that is outsourced at this point, and I'll tell you more about that later on in the course. But when I was first starting out, yes, I did do some editing. And so that's why you do want to get familiar with the editing process, even if you do plan on outsourcing it, because it's going to make it a lot easier to outsource if you know what's involved in that process. So check out these tools. There's a lot of other much more advanced tools you could use to edit a podcast, GarageBand and fancy, pro tools from Adobe. But I really do want to keep it simple in this video, and this is something that's worked for me, so I think it'll work for you as well. Now, the other piece of software, I guess you could call it software, that you're going to need is a place to host your podcast. And I remember this was one of the most confusing parts of the podcasting process for me when I was getting started. So the way it works is you record your podcast, you edit it, and then you have to upload it somewhere. Now, you can't just put it on Dropbox or Google Drive or on your website. You need to put it on a very specific type of host, and that's a podcast host. And the one that I use for 2 of my shows is Libsyn, because they've been around forever. They're very dependable. And then for my newest show, I'm using a podcast host called Buzzsprout, just because I wanted to try something different. Now, if you ask me which one I like better, I really do like the dependability of Libsyn. I've been there forever, but I like the ease of use with Buzzsprout. Now, today I probably, judging on how well the third podcast is going, I would probably put all of my shows on Buzzsprout. But, that's another story for another day about how to move a podcast from one host to another. But I would say if you pick either of those hosts, you're going to be fine. If you want to go with the one that's very dependable, it might be a little bit harder to set up. That would be Libsyn. And if you want to go with the one that is very easy to set up, you could check out Buzzsprout. There's a lot of other hosts out there, but I think, I wouldn't spend too much time picking all the nitty gritties. You just want to find a podcast host that's going to work and that does what you need it to do, which is to distribute the podcast to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and some other networks and places. So I'll put links in the description for Libsyn and Buzzsprout if you want to check them out, along with some other information. But I do think that these are both really solid choices. Okay, so that's going to wrap up the technology. You see, we kept it short. It wasn't too difficult to get through because we just talked about the very basics, which is your microphone, your tools for recording, tools for editing, and then tools for uploading your podcast to a host. So that's going to do it for this part of the course. In the next video, in the free podcasting course, we're going to talk about step 4, which is actually producing your content. So I'm looking forward to that one, and I will see you in the next video.